The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the producers and the individuals appearing on this program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff of the Sun Prairie Media Center, its members or underwriters, the board members of the Media Center Commission, Charter Communications, TDS Telecom, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jamison Rabbit, and the man seated right here next to me leaves all his life decisions up to the Magic 8 Ball. What does it say, Mike?
It says, yes. I mean, really, that's what for the longest time, it used to be flipping a coin. But I could only have two decisions.
Two outcomes,
Is it going to be tail or heads? Which isn't a
And
decision
sometimes
for everything.
you forget to assign what's heads, what's tails.
I never assigned everything. So when you flip it and the answer is tails, a lot of people are looking at you like, what does that mean?
Yeah, and you're like, I don't
know. But you get the 8 ball, it tells you exactly what you need. That's how I do my scoring.
It always comes back.
Yep.
Check again later.
Yep.
Ask later. No! I love that's how you get your scores.
That's how I get my scores.
You have a 10-sided die inside there. Like,
should I assign it a number this week? Yes.
Oh, good. I'm glad to see there's a scientific process behind everything.
Now you know how I get my scores.
I've wondered. So let's get started on movies that we are giving scores to. The first film we have this week is called The Banana Splits Movie from director Danishka Esterhazy. The Banana Splits, if maybe you don't know what they are, because they are a creation from a little before our time even. Was originally a Sid and Marty Krofft production. Before they went off and did their own thing, they were working for Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
And in the late 60s, they came up with this show with these stuffed creatures, Fleagle, Bingo, Drooper, and Snorky. And they formed a band, and they entertained children with skits and some animated shorts thrown in. It was like Captain Kangaroo-esque type of show.
Yeah.
And
it really highlighted the sign of the times where, you had Dean Martin's laughing and stuff like that. It's all about being groovy and dancing.
Groovy and dancing, and a little variety show for the kids. And had the ever-catchy Tra-La-La Banana Split song. And, this is a show that was here and gone before my time, but I think I was exposed to it through PBS or one of these shows.
Syndication of some sort.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember actually sitting down and watching any of this.
No, I
as a
wasn't
kid.
alive when it was actually playing. But now we have the Banana Splits reimagined for a new generation with this movie. And in this movie, we have a young boy named Harley who is obsessed with the Banana Splits. His biggest wish is to see them live and to meet the Banana Splits. This kid, I don't know where he's from, where this is like, man, there's nothing I want more than to meet this thing that was around 45 years ago.
And even dress a lot like the times.
Yeah.
I swear he had an outfit that looked like it came right out of the Monkees.
He's definitely too old to be into this.
Yes.
But he's also very much too young. Like, it's a weird thing. But he's got an abusive stepdad who is really negligent at worst, abusive at best. He's got an older brother who's occupied elsewhere. He does not want to hang out and go to Banana Split shows.
No.
But his mom surprises him with tickets. We're going to go see him live. It's going to be the best. And Harley is pumped. And no one knows that this may be the last show ever.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. We also have our evil network executive. You got to have one of those in here, who is going to cancel the Banana Splits.
Yep, because he wants to do something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love some of the dialogue in this.
It's
it was just hilarious.
It's amazing. And then there's also a madman in the basement who is working on these electronic entertainers. And soon, well, Mike, the laughs, they turn deadly.
Oh, yeah.
As these, they start hunting the humans in the studio. And there's some crazy, over-the-top kills. Like, this is a horror movie.
Yeah, this is a mixture of a lot of different type of horror genres. The only part I really did not like about it, and I'm just going to get this out of the way, I don't like torture porn. I hate it with a passion. And even though they take a little bit of elements of all sorts of horror, the long,
turns into a Saw sequence.
scenes, you just look there and you're like, oh, he's dead? No. you're going to be watching him tortured for quite a long time, which I absolutely hate. But
by these animatronic animals.
But it's the only thing I really hated about the movie. The rest of the movie was colorful. It had some interesting characters.
Yeah.
It gives you the retro feels, even though it's before my time. I kind of feel like it's a hazy part of my childhood.
Sure. It's so weird though to be watching a movie with these characters who are a part of pop culture. And they're killing people. It's like watching Big Bird or Captain Kangaroo kill people. You're like, wait, what's going on? I don't know how to feel about this.
This movie is beyond absurd, and sometimes that can be really bad. This time, it was so beyond absurd where it's hilarious.
It brought it back
it's
around
funny.
for you?
It just brought it back around, and I started to have fun with it. The absurdity that these very technical robots are used for a failing children's show. I mean, you could have sold that technology to anything. They become sentient after a while.
There's some
that's another weird little thing.
There's some weirdness with the soon-to-be introduced fifth member, too. The owl.
Yeah.
That was a little weird.
Well, that's a spin. You have to spin the horror movie a little bit in case people like it.
In case. I'm curious, before we give our scores, is there another... You think of another children's franchise that you would love to see get this odd horror treatment?
Yeah, I always wanted to see Scooby-Doo. And this is Hanna-Barbera. Yeah. This is the first Hanna-Barbera R-rated movie. Yeah. Very rightfully earned. Why don't they just... I mean, I know Scooby-Doo is their big one, and they don't want it tainted, but that is ripe for having an adult situation. You have some characters that you always thought were going to do stuff behind the scenes. You always have a horror element to it. You could really turn that into something fantastic. And Hanna-Barbera has sold the rights to comic books, so there is more of an adult spin to Scooby-Doo, just like they did with Sabrina. They can do that with Scooby-Doo. Maybe not with the torture porn, but get into more of the adult storylines.
Can I get like a very intense John Wick-esque Hong Kong Phooey where he's just snapping necks?
That would be great.
He's popping out of that file cabinet and snapping necks?
Yep, that would be great. I would do that, yeah.
He's my favorite super spy.
Was Plastic Man also Hanna-Barbera?
No, that's a DC character.
Who was the one? Wasn't there a stretchy guy?
There's always a stretchy guy. Yeah. Every time you get a team together.
I'll
like a wacky races, only it turns into Death Race.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, yeah, Yogi's Yahooies. Things are going bad.
Ooh, a Yogi Bear, where Yogi is actually acting like a bear and he mauls people. Yeah, a horror movie.
These write themselves, guys.
And he's just, it's a boo-boo.
I'm on board for all this.
Yeah.
All right, what did you give the Banana Splits movie?
I give it a 3. I know I sound really happy and stuff, but really, the torture scenes, way too long.
Yeah.
It takes me a while to recover after I see something like that.
Yeah, I gave it 2.5. Like, I had fun with it, but you strip away the nostalgia of the Banana Splits, and this is a direct-to-VHS movie.
Would you like this if it was The Wiggles? Or Yo Gabba Gabba?
I don't. Probably not the same.
No.
Maybe. I don't know. I like The Wiggles. I'm a big fan of Anthony. Follow him on Instagram. He's great.
About The Wiggles. I just know they exist.
Anthony's got a great Instagram.
This would be great with Tilda.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Anything is better than that. Yikes. All right, let's move on, sir. What's the next movie we have on the marquee?
We have Abominable. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, thanks.
Well done.
Directed by Jill Colton. This is a movie about a young lady. Her name is Yi. She finds a abominable snowman on top of her roof, and with the help of some friends, they whisk him away to get him to Everest. They named the abominable snowman.
But you're just showing off with this. You call him a yeti, but you're showing off with this abominable.
I trip over words. I know people aren't used to me not being able to pronounce things, but
reveling in it.
So Yi, played by Chloe Bennett, she has 2 other neighbor friends that help her on the journey. Meanwhile, they are also being hunted by an evil billionaire who believes in the Yeti. He wants proof because he saw him in his past. So dead or alive, he wants this snowman back into his possession. That is played by Eddie Izzard, who is actually one of my favorite comedians.
He's
He is
really
a
good.
fantastic guy, and he employs the help of Dr. Zara, played by Sarah Paulson, which this movie is absolutely beautiful to see. But some of these characters, they do some extreme 180s for no reason.
Specifically Sarah Paulson's character.
And even though this is very beautiful to see, I also thought that the flow of the movie was quite jagged, and some of the dialogue was way less than par. Well, what do you think?
I think Yetis are huge right now. This is the third Yeti. This came out on the anniversary of Smallfoot last year.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Missing Link, which I actually didn't get to see. You saw it,
Oh, it's a fantastic
raved about
movie.
it. So I actually watched it last week.
You
and
did?
loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I'm glad.
Which probably set the bar too high for this one.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
But this one, I don't know. First off, I love that it's set in China. I love that these are all characters that are Chinese. There's so much beautiful scenery that you can put in here. This movie also made me very hungry for those baos, those buns. I love those.
There's a place on the west side.
Oh,
of
I know.
Madison
We go
that-
there frequently.
Oh, yeah,
Even
I
my
bet.
daughter, when she was watching it, was like, "Daddy, I want those dumplings." Like, oh, we'll get some dumplings. Don't
Go
worry.
down and get some bean balls.
Oh,
They're great.
so good. But the villains were really confusing in this movie. Like motivations were confusing to me.
Oh yeah.
They seemed like almost like in the way. I don't know. It felt like the movie was like, we take a little adventure with the Yeti, and then the villains show up.
Yeah.
And then we reset that, and we do it again. Now we go to a different location, and the villains show up. And it's just that like 4 times throughout the movie.
And I felt like the jokes were really pretty lowbrow. I mean, they weren't good. I liked the whooping snakes. Those were funny. But otherwise, there's like a Dave character that would say weird things every once in a while that you quickly forget he said stuff.
I liked the bonding between the kids. I liked the bonding between them and the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah.
I liked all of those moments and how they bonded together. Everything outside of that was just kind of meh.
What do you think visually?
I think visually there was a lot of really cool things in here.
Yeah.
And when they got like near Everest, I thought that was really cool. And there's some stuff. Also, her mom, Yee's mom, wasn't really overly concerned about her daughter just disappearing for quite a while.
Yeah, that was another thing I was confused because when she showed up, it was just like, oh, how was your trip? How'd you know you had a trip? You didn't set that up beforehand.
I was wondering the same thing. I didn't know if I missed something, but I do know that if my daughter went missing at a time when there were reports of a monster on the loose in the area, then I'd be a little worried.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was wondering if I missed something. How'd she know she was on a trip?
I was thinking I missed something, but I asked other people, and unless it was so slight, maybe she mumbled it. I don't know.
I wish they would have dug into the mythos of the Abominable Snowman a little bit more.
Yeah.
They had time. You just cut out a couple of Dave jokes and a turn by Sarah Paulson's character, and you could really dig into the mythos of the Yeti.
Yeah, they should have.
Why does he have these powers?
Yeah. No, that would have been good.
Why does she have these powers?
Well, she has the powers because he gave it to her.
Okay.
That's it. That's all.
That's what I wanted more of, like a little of that.
The story on this, not deep at all.
Yeah.
Not deep
right.
And character motivations were screwy. It was a beautiful film.
It was.
After I was done with this, I was like, this would be perfect if you're just doing stuff around the house and you had this in the background. Don't turn on the sound. Don't try to follow the story. Just look at it on occasion because it is absolutely beautiful.
think this movie. So this movie is set in China with Chinese characters.
Yes.
I think this movie would have been just as relatable if it was in Chinese. If the dialogue was all in Chinese, I think I could have got everything that I needed out of this movie and not knowing what anyone was saying.
True, but then it would make less money than and it's not doing too hot in the theaters right now.
People might be burnt out on Yetis.
They might be.
That might be a thing.
Especially after the last Yeti movie, because that was a fantastic movie. I love Susan. It's a boy's name.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, but then I thought about it. I looked at the other movies that company had done, and I love every single one of those.
Yeah. They're the Wallace and Gromit crew, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And, they've done a bunch of flicks that I enjoy. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Speaking for Abominable, though, I mean, did you see Smallfoot?
I don't think I saw. I think that was you.
Yeah, it might have been.
Because I definitely did not.
That was very
movie. Yeah. But I didn't see the other one, and that was fantastic.
All right, what did you give Abominable?
I gave it a 3. I know it sounds high, but it is a beautiful movie. It really is.
I think I concur with you. I gave it 3 stars as well, right? Yeah, I did. Shook that magic 8 ball. Landed on the same score as you, 3 stars. Let's
Sources point to.
So let's continue our best in show series that we've been going through for the last month or so, and we have a Best Picture winner. The movie came out in 1951, Best Picture the following year at the Oscars. It is All About Eve from writer and director Joseph Mankiewicz. It stars Bette Davis as a woman named Margot Channing, and she is an aging Hollywood star, probably past her prime on the backside of her career, and but she's still got a lot of pull, and people in her circle still look up to her quite a bit. This young ingenue shows up, who is just an obsessed fan, a lady named Eve Harrington, played by Ann Baxter, and she's obsessed with Margot to the point where she just won't leave her alone. And this fan slowly becomes like an assistant to her, and then attempts to kind of supplant Margot. There's a moment in this movie where Margot is performing in a play, and young Eve tries on her costume and is like, yeah, it becomes a little single white female-esque at that moment. Of like, I'm going to take over. And Eve is, she's conniving. She's got a plan to play Margot's closest friends against her. She has a plan to take her life and everything involved in it, maybe even her man. And when she hits snags, she kind of pivots kind of quickly. Yeah. She's pretty good at moving on to the next thing.
But even though she makes a 180, unlike Abominable that we just saw, everything makes sense. You see her make that change, and you weren't expecting, because they do a good job at setting this up. At the beginning of the film, you believe you have this paranoid diva that is just overacting too much, and you have this kind country mouse that's just following in her footsteps because she worships so much. And then later on, you see that switch, and you're just like, that makes sense. She is very smart. She's very conniving. She had every right to be paranoid. She's still a diva. Yeah. But both their characters start to make a slow change. And this movie is really all dialogue. There is no action at all, but the dialogue in this is so beautiful. It actually is starting to cause a complaint for me. Yeah. Because I watch all these other movies, and I'm not saying all these movies are bad. I mean, 3 is respectable. But you watch something like this, and you just wish you could see movies like this again.
I mean, this is our first time reviewing a Bette Davis movie, and she is tremendous in this film. And I love her turn, because at one point in this movie, she's starting to doubt herself. She's starting to believe that she's washed up, and she's getting that self-doubt in her. But she is the queen of delivering snappy dialogue and snarky dialogue. And she is so good in this. And when she finally deduces Eve's nefarious plan, they're at a dinner table, and things start to come about. And when she really hammers in what this plan is through the help of some of her friends, I love it. All of a sudden, you see her like ready to pounce. Yeah. And I love that. And you also have George Sanders in here, plays Anderson DeWitt, who's a film critic, who is like the only one who kind of doubts Eve from the beginning. And like, I don't trust her. I thought he was great. Hugh Marlowe in this one, but you also have Marilyn Monroe, a very young Marilyn Monroe in this movie. Yeah. When she was still going uncredited for the most part in movies. It was only a couple years down the road where she would suddenly be Marilyn Monroe. This was the last movie where she used her actual voice, not her breathy Marilyn Monroe voice. Yeah. She was just like cute blonde who's had a couple lines of dialogue.
She was pretty much just a prop. But her being in there is important because a lot of these people are superstars, and they did many things afterwards. Or, well, in the case of Bette Davis, her career was actually failing.
Yeah, I mean, this was very meta as far as her career at the time.
And so this movie kind of was a little bit about her life and the same thing. And in her real life, she kind of did the same things as Margot did. The lead actor that played her boyfriend in this, she actually ended up marrying him, a much younger person. Her career was failing. She was worried about her career. Yeah. This movie saved her. I mean, really.
And I love just seeing like two very different actresses in between Bette Davis and Marilyn Monroe in this movie together. I love like, wow, these are two actresses who approach the craft in two very different ways and have very different results. But it's amazing that they were both like the A-list of A-list actresses within a decade of each other.
And I liked how they had a middle actor too. We have Karen Richards plays Celeste Holmes. She was the in-between of the two people. She was Margot's best friend. She was also the one who took pity on Eve. And she is that middle tie between the two characters. And as a character herself, she's not just a pivot point. She's also a fantastic way of delivering the story as well. Every single performance in this was fantastic.
Well, and I'm glad you say that because this film had 5 different acting nominations. So you had all 4. It's the only film to ever receive 4 female acting nominations. All the female leads are nominated. And also you had, George Sanders won for Best Supporting Actor for playing Anderson DeWitt. At the time of the 1951 Oscars, this film had a record 14 nominations, setting the record, beating the record that Gone with the Wind had set.
Did Titanic topple that or no?
I don't know. 14's pretty close to the
Yeah.
top. We'll talk about that someday.
Oh, yeah.
But this film won Best Picture, obviously, won Best Supporting Actor, Best Director for Mankiewicz, Screenplay, Costume, and Sound. And then Ann Baxter, Bette Davis, Celeste Holm, Thelma Ritter, Cinematography, Art Direction, Film Editing, Musical Score were all nominated. What was interesting, also I was looking up different lists and everything of Best Picture winners, and I stumbled across the AFI Top 100 Movies.
Okay.
They rank, the top 100 movies ever made.
Yeah.
This is number 28 on the list of the greatest movies of all time.
I believe that.
I like that I finally got to check one off that list, Anytime I go, I've never actually seen that. This is a good one. At the 51 Oscars, this beat films such as Born Yesterday, Father of the Bride, King Solomon's Mines, and a film that we did very early on in this show, Sunset Boulevard. Another great, right? We did that one years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty good race.
That is neck and neck.
And two older actresses really bringing their A game.
Yep.
So anyways, that was it's a great movie, and it's one of those movies that I've always heard about and always meant to watch. And thankfully to this series, I have seen it.
Now, how do you feel after watching something like this for the first time, and then you go see Abominable? Well, I'm just curious, because one of my big complaints about a lot of the movies that I see is bad dialogue and really silly situations, and things just aren't melding together. This really felt well thought of.
So
this felt like a passion.
This is like in my wheelhouse of these type of genres that I really enjoy. I love, like Bogart movies and a lot of movies that not a lot has to happen. It's a lot of snappy dialogue.
Yeah.
A lot of Dashiell Hammett type dialogue where it's just snappy back and forths. And I love Cagney movies for the same reason.
Yeah.
Because he can just deliver lines.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people say it might sound stupid, but I like this. I don't need explosions. I don't need fist fights,
Yeah.
So I usually am a big sucker for this type of film. It's great.
It is.
All About Eve, man. Go check it out if you haven't seen it.
Definitely check it out. If we have not convinced you, ask everybody else who's seen it. It's a great, great movie.
It is a great movie. Another movie that I saw over the week, not like getting into a review of it, but I went and saw The Shining. Had their big 4K restoration release this week. And also had extra scenes of Dr. Sleep, the Shining sequel, coming out soon.
Oh, very cool.
With Ewan McGregor as Danny Torrance. I took my 13-year-old son. He really wanted to go see The Shining, so we went and saw it. And my opinion remains the same as it always has been. I'm not a fan of The Shining.
Do you like Kubrick?
For the most part, no.
Yeah, okay.
For the most part, I think Kubrick is a little full of himself. But I wanted to give this, it's probably been 10 years since I saw The Shining. Give it another shot. I want to see it on the big screen. It's going to be great. He was bored out of his mind through a good chunk of the movie. There was also like a kid there who was like 8 years old sitting next to us. Like, come on, man.
That's
what
actually normal now. I've seen some of the worst torture movies, and people will bring their small kids. It's people just
Yeah, I'm watching The Shining again, and I'm like, boy, I really love these performances, but boy, I really don't love the movie. That's too bad, though. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's your Shining take for today. Let's take a look, sir, at what is coming soon. The weekend of October 11th, we have 3 movies coming out. The first is the animated feature, The Addams Family.
I don't know yet. I love The Addams Family. I really do.
Yeah.
The Robert
Raul Julia?
Right, thank you.
Oh,
thank
if
you.
only Robert Goulet was doing it.
I know. I
The
Addams I knew I had the
Family.
name wrong.
Goulet.
But that interpretation is my favorite. And that was interpreted on the television show,
Right.
where this cartoon is based on the New Yorker comic.
Ah.
It's fine.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the New York comics are like Marmaduke. You have one little thing,
Sure.
and they say something silly. But I don't know yet. I'm hoping it's going to be as good as the other Addams families that I fell in love with.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
We'll see. We will see. The next movie we have is Will Smith shows up twice in The Gemini Man. Man who has been sent into the future to hunt himself.
That looks interesting. I mean, you could tell that Will Smith raises his voice a little bit
Sure.
to try to do young Will Smith.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny, but
Is this going to be as good as Looper?
God, I don't think so.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I liked Looper, though.
I love Looper, and I got into a long, drawn-out fight on a podcast for about an hour about Looper with my former host.
Really?
Yeah.
You did not like Looper?
No, he hated it.
Oh, wow.
And I loved it. And we spent an hour screaming at each other about why the other one was stupid. It was one of my favorite episodes of Movie Mojo Monthly. The last movie we have is called Jaxie. This is the movie where Adam Devine loves his phone maybe a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of also stars Rose Byrne. It's kind of like a comedic Her.
That's what I was thinking. It's like
Replace
Her.
Joaquin Phoenix with Adam Devine.
It's been a while since I've seen Her.
Yeah.
I feel like I should not rewatch it before.
I just watched it like a month ago.
Oh, you might be
I
tainted.
believe it was on Netflix now.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, I love this movie.
it's a fantastic.
It's great.
You should not watch that before watching this.
This will probably be just as good, right?
Mm-hmm.
You did that like my wife does when I say something. I don't want to hurt your feelings, honey. Let's before we leave, though, we have to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, The Palace here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring this program, making it all possible. We really appreciate it. We also have the Halloween season is in full roar now. We are in the month of October.
I put up my little spooky town already.
Ooh, spooky town.
It's very spooky.
The Palace is, of course, showing some older features, like I saw The Shining. They also have The Exorcist and many more, so make sure to check those out and go see some scary movies as well as some new releases.
And if you want to find banana splits, check out the Redbox.
Yeah, we do Redbox on that one.
Every once
that
in a
one never made it into our theaters.
No, I kind of
Who
want.
knew?
I kind of want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But that torture stuff, I really don't get all.
I think we really need to write one of these other ones that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And just submit it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Just be like, this.
We got a screenplay for you.
This is like $100 idea.
Bang, let's make it happen.
I need 3.5 million.
Next week, sir, we have got movies such as The Joker. Speaking of Joaquin Phoenix, The Joker will be being reviewed. We also have the Judy Garland movie, Judy, starring Renee Zellweger. We're gonna have for our best in show next week. We're gonna have ourselves a little depressing movie. Get ready.
A lot of them are.
Get ready. Things are going to get depressing next week, and we're going to jump into the 1980s for our best in picture.
We do a little sample of every decade, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're thinking of you guys.
Right. And we'll have a streaming spotlight on Netflix film called In the Tall Grass. We'll be talking about that.
Okay.
Check it out.
All right.
We'll see. But all that will be coming next week when we reconvene. But until that time, I'm Jamison.
I'm Mike Roth.
Have a good one.